What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and we're about a half an hour away from game time, but I got a few minutes, and there was some big news actually from one of the earlier games that I wanted to talk about. It's unfortunate news, it's injury related, but I wanted to discuss it just really fast while I had a few minutes before the game, before the live stream. And that is that Cincinnati Bengals quarterback and first round pick Joe Burrow has sustained what appears to be a pretty serious injury to his left knee. Now, hopefully that's not the case. Obviously, they're going to have to do MRIs and stuff like that, but he was carted off the field and he did appear to be in some pretty substantial pain. The reason why I bring this up is because, as you guys know, I have said for quite some time that I don't want, and even now, even though we're winning games and so on and so forth, and we're winning with Tua in the game, I don't think that he's, playing at superstar status yet, and I don't want him in the game because I am concerned that he's going to get hurt, especially now that he, as of this past week, is on the injury report with a foot injury, which is concerning considering the fact that he has had surgery on both of his ankles and is prone to injuries. But anyway, it just goes to show you, though, with the Bengals injury that it can happen, and especially in a season that is just absolutely like inundated and flooded with injuries. And look, again, I hope he stays healthy and he stays fine, but he's one injury away from this whole thing being a complete disaster, right? So people have been super excited that he's in, and even though it was super strange timing, etc., people have been overplaying his performance and saying that he's playing like a superstar. He's been playing all right. He's been playing a little bit better in each of the games, and he's been showing some flashes, but he's definitely not superstar status yet, and he's definitely made some mistakes that did not end up costly because he lucked out, right? Just the way that the ball bounced, he lucked out, and he was saved from that. Like, I just read a thing, might even still have it up, actually. Yeah, real quick, let me add this in here. So this is actually a little bit of a preview for this game. Tua Tagovailoa isn't putting up the Star Wars numbers that we've grown accustomed to seeing from quarterbacks coming out of today's high-power college offenses. Miami's rookie quarterback is averaging just 172 yards passing in his 3 starts and has thrown 5 touchdown passes. Over a full season, that would equate to approximately 2,750 yards and 26 touchdowns, or about what Patrick Mahomes has already piled up this season. Yet here are the numbers that really stand out for the ex-Alabama lefty: 0 interceptions, no losses. Yes, I get that, but that's not the whole story. And the reason why I say he is lucky is because there are 3 plays in which there should have been an interception as a result. So, in the past 2 games. So, look, and it is what it is. Obviously, I don't want him to throw those interceptions. I'm just keeping it real, and I'm glad that they weren't, but I'm just keeping it real with you guys that they should have been. And they were bad decisions on his part because he's a rookie. He doesn't know the entire thing yet. He still needs the entire playbook yet. He still has to get chemistry with his guys, right? He's been off target on several throws. He hasn't, really made anything, deep down the field except for, a couple passes, right? He's been off target there as well. So we're not seeing the superstar, out of him yet, right? And that's not his fault, but that's part of the reason why I personally like to redshirt quarterbacks, right? Or really just any rookie, right? Let them sit their first year and but particularly quarterbacks, right? Let them sit, let them get used to the NFL, and being a professional in the NFL, being in the organization that they're in, get chemistry with their guys, learn the playbook, etc. And particularly in Tua's case, you help to ensure that he doesn't have any injury. I mean, you guarantee, aside from maybe, potential, injuries in practice, or there's always non-contact injuries, but that's just life, right? But like, you ensure that he doesn't the place where he's going to get hurt the most is in games with live bullets when you have defenders trying to destroy his face, right? So, I don't want him in because of that, right? And it's just, I worry, right? I worry. So he now does have a minor foot injury, which is concerning. And he's, this is a game that they should win and so on and so forth pretty easy. They don't have, their defense is not super stellar or anything. But, every game he's going to take some hits and there's always that potential chance. So it's scary. I worry about it. And especially getting back to the news really about Joe Burrow. Look, he might not even be in that game now against the Dolphins, right? So everybody was super hyped up to see, we got to see him against Justin Herbert, right? And he won that battle. But we might not get to see him now against Joe Burrow, the number 1 overall pick, right? Who, for the vast majority of, the pre-season or the off season and the draft and so on and so forth, he was compared more to Joe Burrow, obviously, than Justin Herbert because they were the top 2 quarterbacks in the league, so on, right? So, that marquee matchup might not even get to fucking happen now because Joe Burrow had to get carted off the field with what appears to be a serious knee injury, potentially a torn ACL or something like that. Hopefully that's not the case. Obviously we will find out more. But that's the reason, because obviously it can happen no matter what. This is the game of football and it's violent. But in a season that is just decimated by injuries, far more than what we would normally have, particularly soft tissue and ligament injuries, I wouldn't put him in. And those injuries are because of the pandemic, right? Because of the fucked up off season and so on and so forth. So it is definitely COVID related, but then you obviously add in players that have to be off the field because they're on the COVID list. But then that adds to the fact that they are, right? So the fucked up off season made it so that way they were never really able to get into football shape before the season began. But, so many of these players are incapable of staying in football shape because of, maybe because of an injury, a minor injury that kept him out a little bit of time. But additionally, because so many players are having to go on the COVID list, even if it's just because of contact tracing or, clubs having to shut down the facility and do everything virtually, it's virtually impossible for them to stay in proper football shape. And part of the reason why I said this season should never even played out to begin with. Right? So, let alone the fact that they're literally playing in the midst of a deadly pandemic that kills so many fucking people. Over 1.3 million people across the world and 259,000 people in America. So, anyway, I'm going to wrap it there. I don't want this to go on too long. I just wanted to make a short video and talk about that briefly because it is a big deal. It's unfortunate for Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. It's unfortunate because, now there's a substantial chance that the 2 rookie quarterbacks will not get to, play against each other. And also because, it doesn't prove my point directly when it comes to my concerns with Tua because, he has not yet gotten hurt, or at least not severely. He has a minor foot issue right now, but he hasn't had any serious injury yet in his first 3 starts. But it just goes to show you that it can happen at any time, anywhere, and I just don't like it, right? Anyway, so hopefully everything's going to be all right with Burrow, and hopefully Tua remains healthy because, like I said, the key for this Dolphins team, frankly, I think that, while the flashes that Tua has shows that he absolutely has a higher potential and higher ceiling than Ryan Fitzpatrick, but I really don't believe that Tua's doing anything, that Ryan Fitzpatrick couldn't do, right? For the most part, with a couple minor exceptions, right? Like, because even scrambles, Ryan Fitzpatrick can scramble, man, right? So anyway, look, God forbid if Tua was to get hurt and Fitzpatrick had to come back in, I still think we could win, the winnable games that we have on the schedule, right? Like, I honestly don't think right now with him being a rookie and with as much as he still needs to learn the playbook and gain chemistry with his guys, I think Ryan Fitzpatrick would get us to where we want to be under the circumstances that we're in, with the additional, factors of a fucked up season, COVID, the teams were playing, having a lot of injuries. I mean, the Broncos have had a ton of injuries and COVID problems, right? So, I absolutely think he could win the winnable games for us, and I don't think Tua is necessarily going to win us the games that I don't think we're going to win, i.e. against the Chiefs, the Raiders, and the Bills. I could be wrong. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. I hope I'm wrong, but that's just how I feel about it right now. So, I guess, if you want to get upset with me about that, go for it. But that's how I feel about it. It's how I see it. And so, the fact that I think that, and this is really the greater point here, and how I'll wrap it, right? So when you take everything, from my perspective, when I take everything into full context, right? So I believe that Ryan Fitzpatrick could, win us these games. I think he could have won us the past, couple games. I think he could win us today's game, tomorrow, or next week's game, and the week after that, right? I'm pretty sure he could do that. I'm pretty sure he could win the game against the Patriots later on in the year. Those are the winnable games, right? I don't think that, Tua's really shown anything consistent enough to prove that he's like leagues, better than what Ryan Fitzpatrick could do at this moment. Again, that's not to say that he won't be eventually, but right now in this current context, right? With him being a rookie, et cetera, et cetera. And then the added additional concern of potential injury, I just wouldn't have him play. And it concerns me, but hopefully everything's going to be all right, and they can continue on down, the stretch and continue on with this awesome push that they've done. I mean, we'll see, right? So they got this game against the Broncos here in about 20 minutes. So hopefully they can continue on, and hopefully the entire team stays healthy. It does seem Kyle Van Noy is active. So that's, good for the Dolphins defense, and we'll see how it plays out. All right, I'm going to wrap it. You guys get the idea. So I hope you guys appreciate my perspective. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Share my channel and videos with your friends and family. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comments section. And of course, as always, follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I am out. I'll see y'all soon. Fins up.